Hello, hi guys. Coach Bon here, creative narcissist. Another coming back for another venting session. Anyway, so today I was uh, feeling a little bit out of sorts about an argument that I had with my wife a few days back. So I made a recent video about personalities, about how I felt like every time the narcissistic side of me turns on, it feels like a different personality coming on, right? So one of the things I want to make clear is it's still me, okay? I'm not saying like some kind of demon or some kind of literal personality takes over my senses and I become like this narcissistic person, okay? So I'm not trying to absolve my responsibility in the whole situation. Okay, I fully comprehend that that's still me doing and acting in such a way. What I'm really trying to make clear is that I can sense the compulsion coming. Okay, I can actually sense the compulsion coming when I feel a narcissistic injury. Okay, so when that thing comes, like I said, it feels like there's a wound that gets inflicted in my soul. A very, very well, depending on the injury, it can either be just like a pinprick or like a paper slice, which is still painful, or like really deep seated pain, right? Now, what happens will be I will usually feel intense fear or rage. Okay, it's usually rage first. Yeah, I will feel intense rage before I feel intense fear. Usually, I will feel the fear if I am unable to control the situation. All right. So, having said that, uh, okay. Having said that, the argument nowadays seems unreal to me. Okay, it seems unreal. Okay, because now I notice that uh, the things that cause me to have that feeling, that injury, is is even for me, intellectually, even intellectually, I feel it's not something you should be angry about most of the time. Okay, so let me talk about that argument that we had with my wife recently. So what happened was it was a good day. There was everyone was having fun. Me and my wife were like chilling, eating some beef noodle, new chop, and then she just mentioned it, like I said in the previous video, offhand. Meaning here it was more like a joke. Okay, so this thing happened, on March, like way back, and she knew during that time I was like in a state of confusion. I was all over the place. Okay, if you see my videos during March, is when I went all crazy. Okay, so for those of you who understands about narcissistic reactions, it was my attempt to discard, to try to find a way to get a fuel and all that kind of stuff. All right, so I did a few things during those times, and one of the ways that I tried to get fuel is when I try to engage my previous relationships. Okay, so with this particular woman, I do have a slight relationship. Okay, it's a small relationship. All right, not really a big deal, but in my state that time, I really wanted to. I didn't really care where I get my narcissistic supply that time. So what I did was I like her Instagram page. That's it. I like her Instagram page, and I basically hoovered her lah. Okay, try to get her to notice me again, maybe contact me again. Now my wife understands this. Okay, that's the deal. Okay, intellectually I know she understands this. She knows what I was trying to do. Okay, but when I heard her saying it, it caused me that narcissistic injury. you know. So the reason why I get it, now I know why the reason I get it is my fear of abandonment, and I don't like to be called out. I don't like to be accused of doing anything that's wrong. Okay, because in my mind, I really do feel like most of the things that I do is justifiable and good. Okay, so I don't like to be called out in any shape or form as the opposite of that. Okay, now I already felt that there's an injury. So in these situations, at the moment, what I do is I will tell my wife that that she has caused me an injury. Okay, so when I mentioned that to her, initially it was counterproductive. So what happened was she got defensive as well and tried to explain to me why she said what she said. She said it was just a joke. So she tried to explain the situation to calm me down, because usually when she knows already, if I'm in this state, it's I just require some form of assurance that I'm in control again. So she tried to her best to try to make me feel like I'm not going to be abandoned by anyone, right? By her especially. So when she started talking, she accidentally used the words, there are certain things I don't trust about you. Okay. So, okay, if you are an adult, when someone starts talking about this kind of stuff, what you do is you will try to let them finish what they talk about, and then start processing what actually they mean when they say those things. But my mind just hooked up on the words, I don't trust you. That's it. It caused me a massive narcissistic injury, massive one. It started with a small one. A small one's not really a big deal to me. Okay, I feel it all the time, left and right. Caused me a massive narcissistic injury because I felt like I was going to be in a. She was going to abandon me. That's it. I felt like she was going to abandon me, and I went all crazy that time. And I actually can feel the rage surging. And I actually warned her. I told her, you know what? I think I don't think I can control myself, Sudani. I'm getting angry, like really angry. So I told her, I told her straight up, okay, what's what's gonna happen? You know what's gonna happen now. So which one of these you want me to do? You want me to go silent treatment on you, or you want me to have a discussion with you? Okay. So basically, these are my two tactics when I try to control, to manipulate. Okay. So by doing those things, what's going to happen is I'm going to make the other person feel scared, discombobulated, confused, all this kind of stuff. So before I actually go into my tirade or my silent treatment, I gave her that choice because I knew already I couldn't control myself this time. So she picked the discussion. Of course, she would pick the discussion, all right? Because the silent treatment eventually leads to discussion anyway. It's okay. Try to start discuss. And then I went through this whole tirade, all weird tirade, which I can actually see myself going through. I can actually hear the words that comes out of my mouth. I can actually predict what I was going to say. And then I became, that abusive, narcissistic prick that I'm usually am with if this situation comes. But this was the good news though. This was the good news. Okay, it wasn't as bad as it usually was because since I knew this was just a compulsion, and she knew it was a compulsion, and she knew what I was trying to do was just trying to get back in control of myself. She was understanding of the whole situation. Okay, she knew what she wanted to, what to say, how to handle me, and the tirade itself could have been worse than it was if I didn't give her that choice or give her that preparation. So it wasn't even a fight or an argument that we usually had, because usually uh, she had to react to me, to my reactions. Oh, hi chief, thanks for coming. Oh, you spelled my name perfectly. I'm glad. It's with one S. right? So it was surreal. It was surreal to see that uh, I have that compulsion. Okay, I had that compulsion, and the way for me to, at the moment, regulate it is I have to express it. Louis is not here. She gave me an early therapy yesterday. She gave me an early therapy yesterday. So this is one of the videos in response to what she said. Okay. So after the whole discussion, everything, yes, and discussing with some of my friends from the tribe, chosen 144, Louis Garner especially, got me thinking that I didn't think about a few things when after I did my tirade. I didn't really felt what it did to my wife as well. Okay, I know how it affected me. Okay, I felt great. Okay, after that thing because she immediately more or less gave ceded control to me. Ceded control to me during that situation, made me feel great, and then it reduced the anxiety by a whole lot. And the actual tirade maybe just lasted 5 minutes. Was pretty short. So I was reminded that I should also think about the other person. So what I did was later in the afternoon, or not really later in the afternoon, was the next day, later in the afternoon when I was chided, I asked for forgiveness from my wife, and we talked about what exactly transpired the other day. All right, so I'm not sure whether this will continue, but at the moment it seems to be something that can what do you call this, can at least allow me and my wife some time to process the situation a bit better than we had before. Okay, so at the moment there's no way for me to control the, the urge. It's very difficult. Now I see it feels like OCD somehow, and if I don't say it, if I don't do anything about it, then it'll explode anyway. It'll just explode anyway. It feels like an OCD. It feels like an OCD. Okay, which got me thinking as well. Perhaps this is like a huge responsibility then, because before I was self-aware about this NPD thing, it happened seamlessly. It happened seamlessly. Like for example, the manipulations that I do, the how I attract women, for example, how I create that trauma bond, all this kind of stuff. It feels seamless, and I don't even notice it. It just happens. So during those times, again, I guess you could say I wasn't. I could say I was responsible, right? Because I kind of like don't understand why I do what I do. But now that I can see exactly what's happening, I mean, I gotta take responsibility for those things. Okay, this might be the psychopathy part, the psychopath in me. I don't really like to be controlled by anything, and I don't really like to be controlled by this kind of compulsions as well. I don't like my actions to be controlled by anyone. And since I'm starting to see this narcissism as another personality, I'm starting to feel like this guy is trying to control me as well. So much I'm now it's creating a whole new situation in my brain where I actually don't like being controlled by my compulsion. Okay, so because I don't like being controlled by compulsion, I'm a bit more cautious with my movements nowadays. Okay, I'm a bit more cautious with my movement nowadays. Okay, I'm taking my bipolar disorder a bit more seriously because that was really compounding the situation. Because when the rage comes, it comes in like huge tsunami instead of like waves. It came like a huge tsunami. So I'm like really strict with my medication for bipolar disorder as well. Right. So it was interesting to see the whole situation unfolding. Okay. Maybe as a closing, I wanna share some of my thoughts about what Sam Vaknin had a conversation with Richard Grannon the other day in YouTube. I think it was a month ago, where he was saying that what caught me wasn't the whole conversation about it being grief. Okay, I'm not going to talk too much about what they were talking about the whole 1 hour, but it was at the end when he mentioned that human beings are actually geared to be a colony. Tech, Chief, technically I'm in my manic phase. I'm just taking my medicine. If I don't, then you'll see my craziness. I think you saw it a little bit before this. Okay, but yeah, one of my goals is actually to try to keep off the bipolar medication eventually when I can control these triggers. Anyway, Sam Vaknin mentioned that human beings are actually ants, like colonies. We live like together. I'm bipolar one, Chief. So my manic phase is really manic. Okay, and a long time too. And that the narcissistic individuals or narcissists, they understand that since every human being have this urge to connect with other people, because that's how we were wired, and since narcissistic people uh, are very attuned to that part of the situation of the human situation, we create a two-person colony, so to speak. Meaning here that there is some danger to that in a sense. Meaning here you can do it to anyone, right? If let's say assume that I become so attuned to what I can do that I don't do it like automatically. Like Sam Vaknin calls us viruses because we do it automatically. Or predators. What if I can control it to such an extent that I can actually control people, for example? I mean, it's pretty dangerous when you think about it. Okay, so hopefully I won't get too big in the head with all the power, because in any case, even though I know how to do that, in any case, the ones who's in, you know, the one who's in control is actually whoever gives me the fuel at the end of the day. Okay, because this feeling of wanting validation, it doesn't feel like I can get rid of it forever. It's something that seems to be like really ingrained in my personality. Okay, so I probably have to live with it for a while. Oh, thanks for the fuel, Chief. Oh, thanks. I'm trying to copy you, Chief. Don't be surprised when I start talking like you, huh, Chief. All right. Anyway, not gonna be talking long today. I think 20 minutes pretty fine. Right. Okay, that feels pretty good after I get that load off my chest. Okay, so I just want to say thank you to everyone who helped me out. Okay, helped me sort through that episode that I went through, the argument with my wife. Right. So hopefully we'll see you in our next therapy session. See you guys. Okay, bye, Chief.